Good morning. Today I'm going to talk to you about making a peg or a other obstacle respond to being hit. There's a problem that when you're hit, because we use the back off command, it's very likely that your ball will sense that it's hit, turn around, back off, move on, turn around. And the peg or kicker, whatever, will never even notice it got hit. And so quite often you don't get the score, you don't get the sound, you don't get the change of costumes. So I'm going to show you a way to do that right now. Right, we're going to start with the kicker. So I've got the kicker as a watermelon here. And the obvious choice, let me make that code just a little bigger so it shows up better. The obvious choice might be to use a forever loop with an if, and then select touching ball. Touching came from the sensing group. Very first one, it says touching mouse pointer, but you can pick any of your sprites or the edge or the mouse pointer. So if touching ball, and in this one, I'm going to switch the costume to a half-eaten watermelon, play a chomp sound until done. That will take some time, and then it'll switch back to the normal watermelon. Let's try that. There it goes. Every time it hits, it turns into a half watermelon while it's being chomped, and then it restores itself. Okay, so that works pretty well, especially with the kicker. But with pegs, particularly where we use back off, about half of the time it will miss the fact that it ever hit it. And so let's talk about a way to do that. We'll do it on the watermelon here. Instead of using a forever loop, instead of touching ball, I'm going to go ahead and just set that aside. We're going to use an event handler, and then we're going to use when I receive a message. I want this message to be special, so I'm going to type in new message, and I'm going to call it hit watermelon, because this is the watermelon and we just got hit. Now, anytime I get the message hit watermelon, I do that little activity that we talked about. So who's going to send that? Who knows that they hit the watermelon? The answer is the ball. And so the ball is going to go to its code. Again, zoom in so you can see. And here in iForever, I've got if touching kicker, which happens to be the watermelon. We're going to point to the kicker, turn around, set a new speed. In addition to that, I'm going to broadcast a message. I could do that at the very end, the very beginning. It really doesn't matter. I'm going to put it down here at the end. Broadcast, hit watermelon, pick the message that I just created. And now this code should work exactly the same as it did before. And you see, indeed, it does. Okay. So we broadcast a message when the ball senses that it's touching, and then in the code for the kicker or the watermelon, I receive that message and react to it. So let's try it with our pegs. I've got 4 pegs here. I'm going to go to my first peg, and we're not going to use that forever loop. We're going to use that same thing when I receive, and this time I'm going to be clever. Instead of a message like hit watermelon, I'm going to make the message be exactly my name. Whoops. Message, new message, EEG. With a capital. It's got to be exactly the same. When I receive message, this one I'm going to do pretty simply. I'm going to start a sound. Pop means I'm not going to wait. And I'm also going to wait till it's done. I'm going to let that sound just play forever, and then, or as long as it needs to. And then I'm going to switch my costume. So just simply a next costume. So when I receive that, notice it changes colors and it creates a pop sound. So go back to the ball code. How do I broadcast that message? Well, I want all of my pegs to do that. So I'm not going to do it here in each of these individual ones, though I could. I'm going to save myself some work and do it over here in hit peg. If I can find here, there's hit peg. I'm going to back off the peg, do all of those point in directions, and then I'm going to broadcast events. broadcast, and I could broadcast hit peg, which I've got there, but I'm actually going to just drag my parameter down here, the peg, and broadcast that, hey, I hit the peg. And as soon as this finishes, that will run. So let's try that. I haven't. It worked on that one. It's not working on the others because I haven't implemented on the others yet. Implemented on the others. I'm going to go to the first one, take this code, drop it onto the second one, jump over to the second one. This time I don't want to do it when I receive peg. I want to do it when I receive peg 2. Okay, that's really obnoxious to have that running. So now this one, when I receive peg 2, do that stuff. Similarly for peg 3 and peg 4. So we'll go over to peg 3, make it bigger so we can see it, change that to a new message, peg 3, okay, and come over to peg 4, change that to a new message, peg 4, okay, and now all of the pegs should change colors every time they're hit. And they all pop, and it starts to feel like a more exciting game. Okay, hope that made sense to you. You can implement that with walls and flippers and anything else you want to hit. And hope that makes sense to you. Thanks.